Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Key. I am your host, Drek, and this is the show where we talk about esports news and culture. And I am joined once again with my always lovely co-host, Nav Nita.
Hello.
Hey, Nav, how are you doing?
I'm good.
What
Pretty
do you
hype. I was listening to High School Musical too on the way home.
High School Musical hype? Is that how you keep esports down?
Of course,
High School
with some
Musical.
Zac Efron and
Zach Efron.
Vanessa
He's not
Hudgens.
welcome on this show unless he's sponsoring this episode. No Zach Efron. Only Ryan Gosling.
Hey girl.
Hey girl, do you want to talk about some esports? So no, unless either of those two people are sponsoring, that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are getting into is just you and me, because we have lost Jester to Heroes of the Storm update patches, and Alan is dead. Rest in pieces, Alan. Today we're going to get into some interesting topics. There isn't really much of a critical update other than Extravaganza, guys. Extravaganza is what the main thing we're working on. So I guess I'll do a brief critical update. Extravaganza. We've launched the Extravaganza landing page. Go to eschamp.com/AMD Gaming. Free entry in terms of spectators. Players, not free entry. So before someone say Dragon said it was free entry.
Yay! No premium $15 to go to McSmashster. As a
It's
spectator. Ugh.
no, it's free entry for spectators. There's gonna be so much stuff given away. We're gonna be building the main stage computers. That's gonna be super exciting. Uh, Games featured are Dota, StarCraft, and CS:GO. So guys, go over there and check it out. See all the information on that bad boy. All right, jumping right into it. We're going to go straight into the upvote. Upvote is the section where we discuss things that are making its way up on Reddit that are esports related. First topic. I don't know which way we should approach this now. I think we'll start off with we'll start with Infinite Crisis. Infinite Crisis shuts down its doors. This is the unfortunate since Infinite Crisis pretty much launched in March of 2015 and is closing its doors August 14th, 2015. And if people don't know what Infinite Crisis is, it's basically a MOBA by DC. I don't know actually by DC, but it's endorsed obviously with DC by using their properties. So you can play as Batman, Green Lantern, and all those stuff. And on their site, they put up a post just saying on August 14th they will be eliminating their service. So the reason why this is kind of news is that I've made the point of making a discussion. I think that MOBAs are a very crowded space. I think it's a very crowded space for MOBAs, and it's one of those things where I how many of these can really survive? Like, how many MOBAs can we really support in gaming or in esports? It's funny because we had some people of our Axlav left. I don't know left, but he ended up for a time in Infinite Crisis, doing some casting, and now he's gonna have to figure out what he's doing from there if he was even still there. Like I don't know. What do you think about that, Nav?
Well, like you said, I don't even know where that infographic or that chart is where we have all the percentages for who takes up what space in the MOBA sphere. But the timing of this couldn't be more perfect because I mean, Heroes just launched.
No, that's exactly it. So it's funny because I have no clue. Like you're right. It was Jester who brought it up, where the infographic showed, or where I guess he explained it to us. I don't think he actually showed us an infographic, but obviously League of Legends has something ridiculous like 60. Oh, you know what? Dog found it. 60% of
Awesome,
them.
Doc.
I want to say 64%. I can't even read it because I'm reading it off the stream. But 66.3% of the market share of MOBAs. I actually don't even know where they're getting on this. Oh, sources Edgar. Then Dota 2 has 14% of the market share. Heroes of the Storm has 7%, and
Which
Smite
will
2.
probably change now,
You think so? Oh,
possibly.
okay. Well, maybe. It's 2.5% was Smite. Oh, Infinite Crisis is on here. with a sliver of 0.6%. So if you have 0.6%, obviously survival in this industry is non-existent. So what
Yeah.
does this mean? Gigantic, which I've never heard of in my life, and Smite, which have the lower end, and Strife, which is in the 0.5%, and Gigantic with uh, the 1.2 and Smite with 2.5. Can they survive in this industry? Or is Heroes of the Storm just going to gobble them up and throw away the key?
Smite will put up a fight,
I think
but
I think so. Smite has this
it's got like
range.
people want to like it, but it's like kind of hard to for some reason, is what I keep hearing from people that like mention it. Um, but like whatever share is there, that's kind of taken up by other and the other things. Either Heroes or Smite might grab that now.
So actually, I also point out that it's actually a projection. It's actually not the current standings, but I guess it's projected what it'll look like in 2016. So they're already wrong since Infinite Crisis is dead. So in
Yeah.
2016, it will not have 0.02% or whatever that percentage was. Um,
And right now it's like I don't mean to be mean or rude, but like B roster people are playing Heroes, but like
how's
when you
that
get
mean?
like
That's
I mean
sort
it's
of
the truth. I don't mean to call people B roster that are
you're
currently
so
playing
nice. Oh my goodness.
it.
Now that's what I like about you. You're so nice. You're like, I don't want to tell them that they're B list. Honestly, Heroes of the Storm,
But it's like once the A-listers come in,
the A-listers.
they
It's like a
will
movie
they will make it bigger.
when Samuel and Will Smith and all them start participating. Then it's gonna be a big deal,
Basically,
right? Right now,
Jaden Smith is going to lead this. Actually, forget about Will.
Jaden Smith is not an A-lister. I don't like. You
How can he
can't.
see when his eyes aren't real?
Oh my goodness, you can't even. If you're saying like the A-listing players, that's true. But the question is, are A-listers like we just saw Huck make the announcement that he will be participating in Heroes of Storm? I don't know if like
Which he did before, but then took a break. But
took a
now it's
break,
like
but what does
uh,
that mean? Like?
I feel like he's in a pivotal moment right now where he's transitioning from like player to caster. But then when you're a caster, you aren't like playing as rigorously as like a player would be practicing, right? So you have some downtime and some fun time. So you want to pick up a fun game like Heroes maybe
He
because he's done StarCraft his whole life, I guess.
well, he's like he made a point to say that he will still be
He'll still be playing
playing
and still
StarCraft.
participating, but um,
He'll you know what it is though? It's he's gonna have that syndrome. It's like I think StarCraft players, as much people say that StarCraft players transition, I think StarCraft players don't like relying on other people. Like I think StarCraft
yeah,
is the worst game you could ever transition to Heroes over, because like really though, you play a game where you have to micro really hard and you rely on yourself, and then you play a game where it's all about the other people,
hmm
and if you lose, you'll be like, you know, obviously these people's fault and it's not my fault. So I don't know. Bringing it back to the topic is, does this loss of Infinite Crisis but this release of Heroes mean something for the MOBA genre? I think MOBAs are in the same position that MMORPGs were like 2 3 years ago, where it was virtually impossible to launch a successful MMO. Like you had World of Warcraft, which was the dominant MMO, and then you had, I can't think of off the top of my head, like a secondary MMO.
I
Uh,
had a secondary MMO and
did you?
I forget what it's called. It's a four-letter name.
Like
And I played it for a month. You had to pay for it originally, and then after like the month I had bought it, it was free.
I'm gonna have to say that the secondary one, the only one that comes to my mind of one that was even remotely good was like
Terra, there you go.
Terra.
Ian
Okay,
got
Terra.
it.
I wasn't gonna say Terra. I was gonna say
I played
uh,
it for like a month, and then I was like, I can't do this. I'd rather go back to WoW.
Guild Wars isn't an MMO. It's an arena. It's an arena tournament thing. Someone in the chat had brought up Guild Wars. I don't believe Guild Wars is an MMO. It's more like an. Oh, I guess the latest Guild Wars is an MMO. I totally forgot they made a new one. I would have said something like Star Wars: The Old Republic. It
That I
was
think there was another one. Oh, there's a Lord of the Rings one.
oh, it's
Well,
terrible. So yeah, we won't get too much into that. But yeah, in as far as esports go, uh, I actually, it's interesting to know or to see that I guess the last esports post from Infinite Crisis was in April with ESL. So that obviously didn't pan out for them. Clearly, we are in, it's 2 months. It's 2 months later. Uh, I guess can just anything. This is kind of tags onto last week. Can anything be an esport? So I guess the answer is no.
Well, here's the
Uh,
other thing. If they were depending on ESL, were they depending on ESL for their production?
yes, I don't know if there was
Okay,
production,
so
but ESL at least did their cup. So the go for, I guess it was the go for Infinite Crisis, go for IC Cup.
yeah.
Um,
Well, so here's my point. If ESL wants to constantly like be alive, like they have to make these decisions as well of like, do we keep this game that's taking a lot of our resources but has no real return, or do we pull those resources into a game like Heroes of the Storm, which Blizzard is really pushing right now, to focus on that?
I think there's a point where,
And then who else is going to take?
as a platform, I don't think Infinite Crisis or anything like actually had that kind of production on ESL. Rather, they use the ESL platform to run their leagues. So
Okay.
you would sign up to play Infinite Crisis on the ESL platform, their play platform. Uh, but yeah, I think that you know I guess the last thing we can just touch on is the Heroes of the Storm launch party, which to me was a bit underwhelming. But then again,
Yeah.
I have never been overwhelmed or whelmed by a launch party of anything of any sort. StarCraft is probably the only one that I was even remotely, fascinated by. But I think I might be a bit biased talking about that.
Well, you had your own launch party with cupcakes,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
and
So
I
that's
think
what I'm
that
trying to
looked
do.
like more fun than their event did. Um, so I was watching it, and I didn't feel as excited as I thought I would have. And there was no show match, which I feel like would have
I
made
was just about to ask you,
it.
did they play the game? Did they even play?
No, they Smix went over to the artist 3 times, which is like something that I don't think would be like 3 times going over to the artist. It's like they didn't have enough content to fill, is what that tells me. The wall thing was like cool. I don't know if the artist was the right choice for this crowd because the crowd didn't move. So the camera really focused on the artist. Um, and yeah, like I don't know.
I kind of felt
6 out of 10.
six. That's a good rating. I kind of
Okay, 5 out of 10.
oh 3 out of 10 would not watch again. For me, like, are we? Is there a part of
See, like
us?
only the front row right there. I see it on the screen now. It's probably delayed. Move, but when the camera would pan out, like no one was moving. So it's like they didn't enjoy the music clearly,
There
and you
wasn't
can't
any
even
mini
see
moving.
heads jumping. Like this
No,
is the
no
kind of
one.
music that people would be jumping to if it was their thing.
I just have to question myself or question the sort of action of whether or not there's a level of so like was this an appropriate was there a mismatch with the artists uh, for the event? I don't know. I didn't personally like the artists and the art, the type of music they brought, but I may have been the wrong crowd. Um, who knows? When it came to the actual launch party, I was just surprised there wasn't any actual competition. I wanted to watch a show match.
I wanted to watch a show match too.
What I really don't understand is, and I think we should touch on this just briefly, is the choice of YouTube Live over
Yes.
Twitch.
Oh no, I had to
I knew
leave,
it. Yeah,
and
I know.
I left them at work. On my
Like,
work computer. Okay, so I had loaded up the Twitch stream. I already knew it was going to be YouTube because I saw Gray Karn's tweet at first, which brought that to my attention. And he was like, this should be interesting. They're going to use YouTube as their streaming platform. So I loaded up the Twitch chat to see if people actually would go in there and wait in the channel. And like, there was at least 20 people waiting. And I watched the chat as well. And they're like, when is this going to start? This says 30 minutes. Where's everyone? And then like one person comes back and reports to the group, hey, it's going to be streamed on YouTube. One guy's like,
uh,
why? One guy's like, my memes. And then it's like, um, people were like still waiting in there, and like nothing, and then it obviously didn't happen because it was on YouTube. But then the YouTube chat closed down, and people started using that Twitch chat to
Yeah.
communicate about how they
Okay.
felt.
So, and I obviously bring this up because everybody in this show knows that I am a huge like proponent of saying that YouTube is going to bring the pain. I think in coming after E3 when they make their announcements. Is this like is this indicative that we're seeing people like slowly making that transition in preparation, right? Because Blizzard, under my impression, Blizzard had an exclusivity with Twitch to broadcast their content, like live stream their content.
But this
Obviously,
isn't like a content thing. This is like a launch party, so you can say it's different because it's an event versus like actual gameplay.
oh,
So
you think
if
that's
they
the
had
thing
a
now?
show match, then I think it would have
Oh,
had to be on
maybe that's why
Twitch.
they didn't have the show match
Hmm.
because they weren't exclusively on like they weren't on Twitch.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. We can only this is only speculations. That's all we can ever do is sort of speculate if this is the case. But I unfortunately didn't. I don't think I got a good experience in using the YouTube. Like I actually had a better experience using YouTube Live than I've ever had before. But I think that the fact that I couldn't use the chat was kind of a bummer. And then when they activated the chat, it was just spammy. So I was like, oh
I
no.
just kept seeing Russian.
I saw Russia, like a Russian
A
flag.
lot of Russian. Oh, I thought I saw like Russian characters.
Yeah, so I don't know. I felt like the YouTube experience for me wasn't as ideal as I'd like. I did like the feature of being able to rewind and go back, which I thought was kind of cool, but I don't know. That's not, it wasn't ideal. All right, so changing topics, changing gears. Um, Next on the list is Call of Duty crowdfunding. So, I guess the best place to start is that MLG made an announcement that they'll be hosting in October their very first like Call of Duty World Championship. I'll be honest, was under the impression that MLG was always hosting like world championships, but this is probably something on a larger scale. So this is probably combining North America, Europe, and Australia. Yes, that's exactly it from their pro points. So MLG has over the last, pretty much the last 2 years, I want to say maybe more, has put down a lockdown on Call of Duty. Call
But
of
Call of
Duty
Duty, like in the calendar year, their hype event is like in March, and then it just kind of becomes slow,
Well,
like
that's because that's the
very slow.
Activision. That's like the Activision event, right? The $1 million
Yeah.
event that they run. So I assume that's
But it's like, what's happening this month for Call of Duty? Is there something even happening?
honestly MLG. Call of Duty is MLG and Call of Duty are synonymous, just like it used to be for Halo. So anything that ever happens for Call of Duty, I've only ever think of MLG, maybe UMG. But even then, I just associate UMG with MLG as one and the same. I don't know. I don't know. I guess enough about the Call of Duty circuit, but that's not really what I wanted to point out. What's the most interesting part of this is this sparked up a discussion of a $250,000 prize pool was announced, or I guess said is what they're looking for. And someone, maybe in jest or in discussion, said that they should crowdfund it to
Hmm.
increase the value of the prize pool because $250,000 is nice and all, but it's a far cry from $10 million of Dota.
Which,
So,
by the way,
oh no, 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 we're gonna get into it. Don't worry,
okay, okay, okay,
we'll
okay.
get into it. Don't worry,
I'll let you do it.
don't worry. We'll have it just in the transition period, right after this discussion. Don't worry, I saved it. $250,000 was the prize pool discussion. Sorry, prize pool announcement for this event. And someone sparked the idea of crowdfunding. MLG, hasn't made any announcement, but they did like a poll to decide whether or not it was viable. People
I
saying
think
that
it was
they
a
would.
community person that did
Was
that.
it? I thought it was MLG Adam. Uh,
And then Adam just responded to it and said, I'll see what I can do.
oh, so a community person did it. Well, that's
Yeah.
even good to know. Good thing you got me on point, but it's good to know that. Yes. So okay. So the idea came up through that it might be a possibility, could be a possibility, would be a possibility. I don't know. But I think this brings a good question on esports. Crowdfunding, I think, in esports is becoming a more and more viable thing. Like, obviously, the international was one of these things that almost seemed esoteric to other organizers, where um, if it wasn't built into the game, crowdfunding was a difficult process. But now we're seeing organizations or organizers really reaching to crowdfunding, where you have Base Trade TV doing their Kickstarter, which
Mhm.
was successful. That's crowdfunding. Um,
Take
or
TV.
Take TV. What are they doing? It's not it's not. What are they running for? The,
He's like redoing or he's
is it Home
moving
Story Cup?
houses. Yeah, like he's redoing the house or making a new house or something.
I don't.
But then there's like a StarCraft tournament that's gonna come of it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, it's like, how's that? Is he crowdfunding the house, or is he crowdfunding the
Like the
tournament?
construction for it, I believe. Like a bit of both. It
Crowdfunding
was
is
so
such a
long
weird.
ago I watched it,
Okay, but
and then all the updates I see are like of the house, so I'm assuming the house as well.
and there have been people in Dota who have crowdfunded their studios.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
So,
sorry, it's a studio, not his house.
oh, okay.
But I think he'll live in there maybe, like how
Well,
he
no,
lives in his
they
house
live
right
in there.
now.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
live in their studios. They always most organizations live in their studios and broadcast from it.
yeah.
But it's one of these things where in esports, crowdfunding has good and bad names. Like you'll see like it's going through this transition. Everything other than the international, obviously, has gone through this transition where crowdfunding was taboo. Like, you know, hashtag broken promises in the StarCraft community is a perfect example where you couldn't crowdfund anything for the life of you because everyone was afraid you would run off with their money and not commit. What's that documentary that did so unfortunate? Sons of StarCraft, which I haven't watched, by the way. I wanted to, but that's an example. I think crowdfunding that didn't go the expectations that people were hoping for. But we're seeing this resurgence of
See,
crowdfunding.
that's like a documentary. This is like
Is
an
it
event.
different? Is it really like
Yeah,
how?
because the documentary, it's like you have viewers viewing it, whereas this tournament, it's like you are contributing directly to like players to continuously grow something, which is esports, and then a particular esport which you are funding.
Like, for,
The bigger the tournament, the more you add to the tournament, the bigger it could be. And then there's the off chance that you can actually go to the tournament.
absolutely. So yeah, there are some times where I do agree, but isn't it's all about returning value, right, for the audience? I think of an esports tournament and a documentary in esports in a similar vein, where you're gonna be crowdfunding it because you want that return of content or return of that experience or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that
Well,
I'm
people are
curious.
now into experience.
Well, I think that's something that people should always have been in. Experience
Yeah.
should trump everything.
Well, now it's like even marketing companies are changing to being about the experience and not the product.
So I guess what this comes down to is that this won't be a donation. We're back to the Call of Duty tournament. It won't be a donation. It's about you're going to get something. What I would like to see is how the perks, and I think that's the thing that people are really stuck on. I think when it comes to organizations that are not Valve or not doing stuff with the Compendium, is like, how do you bring that value to people through your Kickstarter or your crowdfunded project? How do you bring that value? So, if I give you $20 or $100, what do I get out of it? I see coaching seems to be this common thread, but I don't know personally if you know, that's never been enough for me to donate. I'm a content watcher. I don't care about coaching, but some people do.
You
Uh,
get highest quality.
Like, okay,
Twitch.
that's
Dude,
no.
I'm
See,
kidding.
that's like a weak thing. No one cares anymore about the highest quality or HD. No one's gonna give you $20 for HD access. Not on the internet, anyways. What I would like personally, like, I don't know if
Twitch
anyone's ever
emotes.
thought, not even Twitch emotes, but more like, but a badge would be nice. But I don't know if that's a thing. If I go to the event, I'd like to hang out with the players. I don't know if anyone's done that yet. I feel like even at the highest levels that I've peaked at, I didn't think I saw anybody put that, when you go to the event, you're going to get to go into maybe a VIP section with the players and you eat lunch with them. I want to eat lunch
Right.
with my favorite players.
I've
Uh,
seen like a celebrity do a crowdfunding thing recently, and like the top prize was, oh, I think it was Katy Perry, and it was a sleepover with Katy Perry.
wait, what?
Yeah. One
So
of the
if you the
prizes.
highest prize, if you did the highest thing, you got to sleep over with Katy Perry. How much
Yeah,
do you have to donate to get that? You had to
5,000 or 6,000.
6 freaking thousand to have
Yeah,
like a sleep. That's the most
and I
expensive
forget what it
sleepover
was for.
I've ever heard. Well, whatever, that makes sense. But I'm just rattling off ideas. Like if there was someone to make a tournament that I was really interested in, and they were like, how can I attract somebody? For me, it would be the experience. I was like, okay, if I give you $200, I want to be able to have a lunch with the players, maybe get a shout out at the end of like maybe ending credits. I don't know why tournaments don't do ending credits. I totally want an ending credit on a tournament that has my name. Thank you, by so and so.
Oh, I don't have my album with me. Sorry. Okay, and I just looked it up. It was Katy Perry gave 5,000 to TLC for their album Kickstarter. So Katy Perry got to be the sleepover guest. Um, but yeah, so
For
that's what it
five
is
thousand
for
dollars.
$5,000. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's like a celebrity to celebrity. So it's like, she's meh. But what I did for Christmas one year was my favorite band, Circus Survive, was um, this is before Invisible Children became crazy.
You're saying a lot of
Asking
words.
for
I have
like
no clue what that mean, but
Invisible
continue.
Children was an organization.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
the Coney thing. Before the Coney thing, this happened. So my brother donated 150 and my name is my Christmas present, and then I'm eternally in Circus Survive's album cover inside their sleeve as like
Well,
a top
okay.
donor. And to
Okay,
me,
so
it's
that's a good
like that
example
was
though.
special.
I think that's what I mean. So, for example, if there was a trophy for these tournaments, why doesn't anyone engrave my name on the bottom of this trophy? I'm totally giving away ideas. I'm probably going to do one day. Just engrave my name on the bottom of these trophies. It's like I don't know. These are ideas that I think would be cool for crowdfunding,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Be like fun and creative with all these things. Like
I-
I was reading base trades like prizes.
Rewards,
Yeah,
yeah.
the rewards, and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty creative. Oh, that's pretty fun."
I don't remember any of the rewards off the top of my head, but I'm sure they were enough to get people to donate. So there must
One's
be.
like coaching, one was like a shirt, your ticket to the venue.
Yeah, well, I think the ticket to the venue is a given.
It's a given, yeah, but it's like, oh hey, you get a shirt. I like shirts.
I don't know. I don't know. To me,
Where's
it's
Drek and where's my shirt?
mm, on to the next topic. That's my cue to switch topics, switch gears. Um, let's move on to the next topic to be female LCS sponsorship. So earlier, I want to say this week, earlier this week,
Hey, you
a
forgot to mention the Dota thing.
oh, true. Okay, so before we jump into it, so backpedaling before we move into that topic, uh, one of the big news, or at least a news, is the compendium for TI5 prize pool crowdfunding has gone over 10K. So this
It's
is a
10.4 right now, I believe.
yes. So this is a perfect opportunity to revisit a discussion we had with the host of the show to decide where we thought the compendium would land. So let's can we even review the numbers? So right now, as it stands, Jester has said that the compendium will end at 12 million, Nav with 15.6 million, and me with 20 million. So this is where we predict that the internationals prize pool will end up by August. I don't know if they're gonna. I think they run straight. If it runs straight to August, I'm gonna make the assumption that it does, but it might not. I'm gonna like
It might end
probably
like a week before or something, is
yeah,
what I'm
probably,
assuming.
but we'll say that it gets pretty close there. Um, I'm really so we have what 2 months to go.
Yeah.
So I am still absolutely confident that by August we will hit $20 million. 10.4 right now. That's 2 months. How long did that take us to raise? And I say by we, I mean the community of people who actually put money into it. I didn't put any money, but I'm here to cheer on the sidelines because I want $20 million to be in that prize pool, so I can rub it in Jester's face. Um, so, anyways, what is this launch in May? Where are we? No, March, April, May. Let's say May for now, for argument's sake. Let's say it's May. No, March. Let's say March. That sounds like a better idea. A little bit over then. We we've raised like 10 million. So I think it's enough time to raise an additional 10 million. I think 2 months is enough to launch 10 million. What are you still confident in your 15.5?
Point six.
15.6? Are you confident?
Of course. Well, you'd assume that everyone that wanted to buy it would have already purchased it by now, because doesn't it like grow?
I also want to correct myself. I did mean to say 10 million, so I don't know if I actually did say 10K. Sorry, say that again.
Oh, I was saying that like if like whoever wanted the compendium would have already have bought it by now, because like it grows, doesn't it? Like
Oh,
the
I see
levels
what
increase,
I see what you mean.
so people purchased it already that
Yeah,
want it.
but you put more money
But
into it. Like you can buy stuff within that
yeah, like
compendium.
yeah, so it's like, but you're not putting in the initial 10, maybe you're putting in 5 now or something like that, and then you're like, I'm done with this. Or you just buy the 40. Or, Dota does something big and all these new little kids want to join.
But it's also about
School's out.
it's also about like the stretch goals, right? So the stretch
Yes.
goals are these things that are gonna, I think,
So
push
that's why
it.
it's only going to get to 15.6.
Oh, I see. I see where you're going. I see your clever plan. I see your clever plan. You're saying that the momentum won't continue because the people who all want it have already bought it by now, and that
And
Steam's
then they'll
all
push
pushing.
it that extra bit to get to 15.6.
Oh, I see. Oh.
Watch it stop at 17.
We're gonna have like a
Drek,
prices.
note that. It's 17.
There's a no. It has to be a prices right moment, right? So if it
That's my
goes,
stretch guess.
because if it goes over, that means you wait. What are the rules of prices right? It's the closest without going over.
If you're over, you're wrong. Like it goes to the next person.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
You have
unfortunate.
to be like under or accurate.
Oh, well then you might have a chance of winning, but I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna go with 20 million. Uh, I feel like someone will just drop a whole bunch of money on it. But though I do feel that you have a legitimate claim through to my iron throne of gambling. Um, anyways, moving on. Uh, moving on to this is going to be a really interesting topic to discuss. I'm going to probably butcher the name of this organization, but Ukraine founder promises to sponsor
Unicorn.
Unicorn. Oh my God. Why can't people just spell things the right way? Unicorn. Unicorn. Oh my goodness. Um, is that Unicorns of Love? No.
No.
No, I didn't think so. I'm pretty sure that Unicorn is like a betting platform.
Yes.
Oh,
Um,
okay, I was right. Anyways,
fantasy type.
Unicorn founder promises to sponsor the first LCS team that fields a woman player. Oh my God, there's so many things I want to talk about this because it
Okay,
just
but he's or it says in the
there's
article that he's going to
stipulations.
do it not as Unicorn, but as himself.
Himself.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. This is completely his own personal because he wrote a blog about how he felt that there is something missing in the industry because there weren't that many or any LCS female players in the starting lineups of just teams. And there's some truth to that, right? I there isn't any that I know of. Unfortunately, Alan, who was going to be our League of Legends sort of guru and discuss it, he mentioned that there was a contender, and her name totally. Oh, her name is this Maria? Is this Remelia? At the bottom, yes. So, but Alan could have probably told us a lot more about her specifically, and apparently she's doing really well in the Challenger series. But I don't know. Like, is this something that's necessary? Like, to are we at this point? Are we in this point in esports where, um, you know, a certain player or a certain type of player is because they're at, are they at a disadvantage? Is Are female players still at a disadvantage? Like, do we have to have now female only tournaments and female only leagues and all these specific female only things to give an advantage or remove the disadvantage, I guess, to I don't know the word minority. I guess females are a minority in esports, just like in comparison to the majority of people who are using or playing in tournaments. But I don't know. Is this something that's necessary?
I think like this is one of those things that the community decides as well. Like if
Really though? Like
well no, I mean like say there's a series like think of like an organized sport, you know? It's like a whole bunch of people saying, "Oh, I want to play an organized game of House League. Oh, let's make a team." How something like that just organically forms.
organic. That's the thing. But this is not organic though. Like this is a proposition that to give or to create that kind of advantage for that person, right? Is this organic? Like, is this the community thing, or is this an individual?
That's an individual saying that, but like how you were just saying about
Oh, I
female
see.
only tournaments, I meant like, if the community wants it, like they'll voice it,
Of course.
or
Okay.
they'll
Well,
be like, oh hey, I'm interested. Oh, I'm interested. Oh, let's make a team.
I don't know. And obviously, you don't have to answer. But as a female, have you ever felt disadvantaged in esports? Like yourself personally?
Well, I haven't competed, so
Oh,
there's
okay. Well,
that.
then if you never competed, that makes it difficult to say.
And as for like sports, like soccer, I've only played in women's league. I haven't done intramurals.
Because this is not the first time a there was a I guess Counter Strike female only league. I think I feel like ESWC is like renowned for creating those leagues, female only. Um, Personally, obviously I could be wrong, but I feel that a female only leagues or these particular inflations when it comes to it, uh, female players is I don't know, is it a disservice or is it a service to everybody or to any particular player when it comes
Oh,
to
and
it?
it was IESF, not ESWC.
Oh,
Says
no,
that.
okay, no, that's the controversy. That IESF was the controversial women's league, but ESWC actually does its own tournament, which is I believe female Counter Strike. I saw it's going to be in Montreal.
Was that the one? Okay, never mind. There was something at LAN ETS too. I thought that was like a women's only for Counter Strike.
I like it's gonna be there's gonna be uh yeah, I
I think
believe
Katowice also had like a women's
I
only
think so
Counter
too.
Strike league.
But even going back to this, just going back to the actual, so sponsoring the first female in woman player fields the first women player in LCS. First of all, I didn't realize there wasn't any females in the LCS, so I guess that's
Mhm.
probably the mark right there. That's the problem. Um, but do you think that a female player coming through the League of Legends system is at a disadvantage? And I had this argument or discussion with Alan, and I really wanted to finish it here with him on the show. But I don't know is if she's any more disadvantaged than any other player going up to the
I think
ranks.
skill speaks for itself,
That's what I
gender
was saying.
aside.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying is that I think that the skill of the player, regardless of the gender, like we're in esports. Esports is I think we're in a very miraculous time where no matter sex or gender or race or creed or whatever it is, it comes down to is how well how good are you at the game, right? How good, like I'm not gonna feign ignorance. I'm sure there is social pressure to female players or any minority player, I might say, in coming up through the ranks. That's a given, right? If there's stigmas, there are male player bullying, and there's tons of things. There are so many incidences we can have discussions about that where males have some chauvinistic attitude to female players. But I think the great equalizer to all that is still, at the end of the day, your skill. Like, if you're a good player, you're a good player regardless of your gender. I think Scarlett is my favorite player because she just wins, right?
Hey, Acer actually made a tweet today saying that tomorrow they have an announcement, and it
Is it
is
Scarlett related?
no, it's female related. They're adding another female to their roster. I don't know which one.
Really?
Yeah,
Who else is there?
I don't know. I tried thinking.
Maybe it's Madalis.
I think she's okay with Millennium.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
So, anyways, they said Okay, I'm pretty sure they're adding a female to the roster, but it could be different. So many new possibilities for our weekly WCW for tomorrow on. It's going to be great brackets and look good.
So, wait, what part of that was like they were adding a female?
Because they don't WCW anyone unless it's their own teammate or team people.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that means, but what does WCW mean?
Women Crush Wednesday.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
What can't it be Scarlet for WCW? I didn't even like, realize that WCW was a
But
hashtag.
it says so many new
Oh, I
They have
see. I
done it for
see.
Scarlet,
I
I
see.
believe.
You're such a detective to reverse engineer that tweet like that. Um, yeah. Bringing it back to the actual topic, though, I think that it's nice for the exposure. I think it's good that he would produce. But is it just going to be for one woman? Is he going to do it for a lot of women? Is he going to do it for?
Well, I think it would be again like if this becomes like a good. I guess it's an investment for him. Why not continue it?
Well, there is an infographic that follows along with this where 90% of the players in, I'm going to guess the LCS league as a whole are male. And like obviously that leaves the 10%.
Is that the competing percentage or like just everyone playing LOL in general?
That would probably be, I'm going to guess this is the competing percentage because I'm going to, I believe that there are, there has to be a lot more women playing actual League of Legends. I see a lot
There
more
are
women playing.
streamers. I see
I see,
streamers.
I see, I see a good amount of women. Like obviously that's colored by my perception. uh, but I guess actually it might actually be the entire game. The entire game, 90% of it are male, and the 10% are female. That's actually much lower in terms of female population than I would have guessed. That's much different. Yeah, there it is. 90% of players are male. 85% of them are 16 to 30, and 60% of them have been completed college. It's an interesting statistics. This is 2012, so I don't know. I cannot guess for the life of me that this changed too drastically in 3 years. Um, so I don't know. Is the answer more females in games? If you don't have more than that in the largest esport in the world, then I don't know what to tell you. um,
Well, like ESL has a women's only, I believe, StarCraft
I don't think that's the
league.
solution though, and
Well, I mean that helps people participate or like see that oh hey I can do something
I guess that okay.
competitively.
So I guess that really comes into the age-old argument or age-old discussion about how do you increase or improve the visibility of women
Well, for
in a
one, that's an
male-only.
amateur league, so the opportunity is
So
there.
should there be a professional league? That is that something that
Well,
we?
I'm just saying that's an amateur league that exists,
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't know if it's brought in new players or not, but that's one way of bringing in new players, and then you never know that could be like a Masters League player that you've now brought to light of everyone else.
Okay. The question is, in my mind, is there the value here or the value in a platform that is women's only? Is there is like does that help them because I think an audience is much smaller from a women's only league, so isn't it more valuable for women or a female player to make it through the ranks of the major things? She's not gonna, I don't think she's gonna get exposure. She won't get exposure from a female only league. I think like this is someone can totally pull up some statistics and say to me that the female only leagues are watched more than the male only leagues, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say they're not. uh
I
and
think the female tournament at Katowice had like a good pull, but
not enough
it was
to.
also at a bad time because the CS:GO finals were happening.
That's the thing. Like,
So,
no organizer is going to schedule it in counterintuitive into the main programming that I know of. Right? It's not. I don't think it's something that we're gonna see anytime soon, where a female only tournament is going to be the main attraction to an event. I don't see why not, but I feel that it may not be not say appropriate, but like in terms of viewership, it may not pull the amount an organizer is looking to see at the end of the day. Um, And I think it does a disservice. I think maybe to females because of the lack of exposure to their sponsors or to their
Well,
supporters or whatever.
who says that, like, say a woman made it through the leagues with like skill set and
Yeah.
is now participating in like the LCS, but can also participate in like a women's only tournament as well. Like, who says they can't do
No,
both?
no, no. Well, actually, I think that LCS specifically is a bad choice because I believe that if you're in the LCS, you can't really participate in other leagues.
Okay.
But other tournaments, yes, you're right. I think like if you obviously if a female player wins the international, she can most certainly participate in other tournaments, hands down, or a female only Dota 2 tournament, which I've never heard of. But if that thing did exist, yeah, sure, why not? Um, I don't know. I feel like this. I think I commend uh, the Unicorn's founder to make a statement. I think sure I believe he's right, but you know what about minorities? I don't know. I would like to see more black guys win LCS. Where's my sponsorship? I don't know. I'm just like I'm just poking a bit of fun, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. I think it just comes down to skill, and artificial inflations aren't gonna help anybody in particular. But I don't know. I think we can just. I don't know if I have any more comments on that, but do you have any more comments on that, Nav, before we maybe transition to a final thought or into another topic?
Nope.
Uh, I think that one of the things that we should is there actually any comments from any of our audience that I can just bring onto our show? Emmy talks about it's nice to have the awareness in the sport rather than being in the background. Any kind of exposure for women acting as role models is a good thing when you're in a minority. I can agree with that. I think there's an element where getting exposure, you know, helping a female player get that exposure is ideal.
Hmm.
Um, but I think okay, I think before we transition off to final thoughts, I think Scarlet is a fantastic, right? Like a fantastic example of a player that came out of nowhere. She won WCS Canada. Did she win it? I feel like she did. I feel like she won WCS Canada.
Uh, Look it up.
I'm gonna say she did because I really, really, genuinely believe she won WCS Canada. Um, anyways, she won WCS Canada, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, she's discovered. Why is she discovered? Not because she had a women's only league or women's only bracket, but because she came up, won, beat a whole bunch of people who were good, and now she is a mega superstar in my heart. Uh,
Hmm.
and like, you know, what does that mean? To me, I think it's that that's how it should be, in my opinion. You win on your merits, and you're more respected for it.
Yes.
Shrug. That's what I think. It's like you're more respected for those merits. Anyways, we're gonna transition off, but before we do that, we're gonna do a quick mention. Normally, I don't know if we normally talk about this, but we're going to do it because the current director Delk was involved. So Get On My Level happened this past weekend. Grassroots Smash Brothers Melee tournament happened in Toronto. How many participants did they have total? I don't know if there's a number here that can pop up or maybe a
I think
voice.
Doc was saying like 10K, and I think I
No,
saw a
no, no, no.
Toronto
That's
judge.
how many viewers.
Oh, viewers, yeah.
10.5
Players wise.
players wise. I'm doing a quick skim. There's too many players on this list for me to count. Did Doug post something? He had 224 melee entrants, 160 Wii U entrants. It's funny that unfortunately for Nintendo's, the Wii U version of their game is trailing behind their GameCube version, kind of significantly. It's 160 people participated in Smash 4, while 224 people Smash and still in. Oh, it was capped. Question then, I don't know. Do you think I guess since we're none of us are the experts here, but I wonder if the Wii U version would have had if given the opportunity, would have done as well, if not better, than
I'm
Melee.
wondering if you participate in Melee, can you participate in
I,
Wii U
I,
as well?
I believe you can. I
So
believe,
then it's like you're just doing it just cause, almost. But if it
yeah.
was just like a Melee only tournament, I don't think people would have been like, "Where's the Wii U?"
No, I don't think so either. I think Melee is still the dominant game in the Smash Brothers community. This is just off of my own personal experience off of Twitter, but I still believe it is the most dominant one. The winner of the tournament was Hungry Box. It looks like American. Ah, always the Americans winning our monies. Oh, that was in doubles. Sorry, I totally read that wrong. Uh, See, oh, it was Hungry Box. Ah, it was Hungry Box. No matter what, so you see, he won in singles and it won in doubles too. So Americans still seem to be dominating the Smash Brothers scene. It looked like it did a really well in terms of viewership, 10K, 10.5, and I think it's interesting to see how grassroots tournaments in the console scene grow in versus the grassroots in the PC scene. Like like I guess DreamHack technically is a grassroots event if you think about it from the
Yeah,
very
from its origins,
from
yeah.
its origins. I don't like. I guess MLG would tell you that it is, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. LAN ETS is grassroots, so LAN ETS is a grassroots event, and it has grown significantly. So yeah, there we go. So let's. What's your any thoughts on that before I transition us off?
Um, I went to Mixed Master, so I think that event had like 200 people of a draw as well. And then I'm not unsure of how many people were viewing it, but it's like um, the tournaments in Canada or in Toronto or Ontario specifically are picking up.
I wonder, as in terms of Canadian Smash Brothers content or Canadian Smash Brothers tournaments, if Get on My Level is one of the top tournaments in terms of viewership or in terms of uh, actual participation. Uh, the last major tournament I personally attended was Impulse, and that was quite a while ago. Uh, I don't know if how Get on My Level actually compares in terms of size and scope. I'm going to assume it was a 2 day event. Usually, events of that magnitude are generally 2 days. But yeah, it's good to see that Canada is still a good hub for competitive gaming and competitive tournaments, and hopefully, we're gonna see more things out of our great country in terms of tournaments
Yay!
participants. So let's transition into a final thoughts. Final thoughts review. Since it's just you and me, we'll just go a little back and forth with the final thoughts. Final thoughts on Infinite Crisis slash Heroes of the Storm launch. So rest in peace, Infinite Crisis, Heroes of the Storm. Welcome. Thoughts. Final thoughts.
Um, well, the community probably, decided that they didn't want to really play that one too much, I guess. So that, I mean, it's like the community is who's making up the player base for that. And with a game like Heroes coming out that has like backings of, I think it's 500K even at the BlizzCon tournament, and then like another 500K you can win along the way.
Yeah, it's like a 1 million
That's
total.
like, yeah, it's like that gets a lot of attention. I don't even know what the prize pools were for Infinite Crisis.
I'm gonna guess it wasn't in the same range. Probably 200,000. I'm gonna guess 250,000 seems a good staple place to start off when you're doing tournaments. I don't know. Probably not. I'm totally just pulling out numbers when it comes to something like that. But
Yeah.
okay, my final thoughts on Infinite Crisis: Heroes of the Storm. I hope Heroes of the Storm can keep the train going. It would be unfortunate for Jester, anyways, if Heroes of the Storm went the same way of Infinite Crisis. I think the mobile market is a bit crowded, but who knows? Heroes might have that winning formula. Blizzard is a strong company, but DC is also a well-known brand. So I don't know Will they be able to pick up where they fell short?
Or
We'll have
stick to the movies and the comics
or
and the toys.
well, we'll have to see. Um, Final thoughts on Call of Duty crowdfunding.
Um, they had like a package or something that was kind of like the Compendium. So if they have something like that, it'll be interesting to see. But then it's
What
like
Call
you're
of Duty
playing.
does?
Yeah, like it said that in the article, but like that might be what the crowdfunding is gonna be like the you get back and not a handout. And also it's like everyone plays it on different consoles typically, but competitively it's played on the Xbox One.
Yeah. So, well,
So
apparently we won't have to wait that long. Apparently June 4th is when we'll actually hear this announcement, whether it is crowdfunding or not. So it'll either be mentioned or it'll be
dismissed.
dismissed. We'll have to find out by June 4th. Um, I just, my thoughts on it is I'd like to see like I said, I think if they're doing crowdfunding, I think experience is where organizers should focus when it comes to the crowdfunding. I think the most value, like obviously you don't want to leave out the people who are digitally invested, like they like, oh, I can't come to the event. But I think there's things you can make memorable to people, regardless of that approach. Like I think you can do things like engraving, or like you said, like just like you felt good that you were inside the inside cover of the that CD sleeve. Is it possible to get your name engraved into the trophy, right? Or maybe a wall of fame or wall of supporters or something that someone would be like, oh, I feel good because I made this happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my thought. Final thoughts. Now, female LCS player sponsorship.
Let's focus on the skill. That's what skill doesn't have a gender or an age or a name. It's like skill is skill.
I think you pretty much you said exactly what I wanted to say. So that makes me sad. Um, Essentially, I think that's the thing we need to focus on as an industry. I think the sponsorship idea is good because you're going to give this player the support they need to continue to do it full time. Kudos on that, but I think that overall players need to like at the end of the day, it's going to be their skill that speaks for them, right? It's going to be that their skill that rises them to the top, and their skill is going to be the thing that equalizes their chances to the exposure. I personally believe it's like that's it. When you're a skillful player, it doesn't matter what your race, creed, and gender. That's not gonna stop you from winning your tournament. That might impede you in other ways, but I don't
Your
think
skill will speak for itself.
exactly. All right, so I think that's pretty much ends this episode. But Nav, where can they find you in this interwebs?
On the screen, it says at Navneater, so you can find me there. That's also my website, which has an aggregate of all my social. So, yeah.
Oh, excellent. So, you can find me at Draconis on any of pretty much social media item that exists. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, pretty much everything else that you can think of. Facebook, at Draconis. You can find and don't forget to follow ESChamp at pretty much everything as well. Twitter, Facebook at ESChamp. If you're watching this on Twitch, follow YouTube /youtube.com/ESChamp. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, follow the Twitch, twitch.tv/ESChamp. Be sure this week, guys, to check out the first set of round robin games for the Radeon Extravaganza for Dota 2. Make sure you ESChamp. Make sure you guys follow along and keep on top of what we're doing. We'll see you guys next time.